Good afternoon, YouTube, because that's the time I'm making this video. I'm going to show you how to maintain a consistent aim throughout World War II. Why this is really important is because a lot of guns in the game are very inconsistent, and it has a lot to do with a mechanic called random recoil. And this has been covered by Exclusive Ace. Shout out to him. He has done a lot of countless research on this game. He's contributed most of the knowledge that everybody knows today. So thank you once again, Exclusive Ace. Um, Furthermore, this has been covered, but I'd like to cover it in a different aspect. People don't understand the importance of these two things for practicing your aim, one, and as well as practicing consistency with your aim. It's not enough just to have a good couple of kills, you know? You want to really, really, really be on the ball with your aim. So, without further ado, we're going to head to your settings, and we're going to check out the control options. Now, there's a lot of things that I'm going to explain here. Personally, I play on tactical and L1 and R1 flip. So what tactical does is it switches your melee and your crouch buttons. So meleeing is circle now, and crouching and proning will be R3. Makes it a lot easier to drop shot. If you find those moments where you're about to die, it can save you more often than not. Especially in modes where you don't have replenishment of your health, such as hardcore. So L1 and R1 flipped. The reason that you want to do this is because when you do aim with L2 and R2, the pressure triggers back there take a second to aim, press down so that you can aim on time. So you don't want to have that extra second where you're kind of having to put up your gun, you know. It's really inconvenient. So you're going to want to switch that to L1 and R1 because it's a lot closer to the front of the control. It doesn't have quite as a long press to the back of it. So you should see that increase your response time. So without further ado, that's going to take some time getting used to. If you haven't been playing on tactical and flip already, I highly recommend it. It may not work for everybody, but try this and see what you think about it after a couple games. Next off, we're going to move to the stick layout. Now, some people may be, may be better off playing southpaw. Personally, I stick to default. It really depends on if you're left-handed or right-handed, which hand is more dominant. I'm right-handed, so I play on default. I leave it there. If you're left-handed, you might find yourself sticking with a different option. So try them out. If you aren't right-handed, or if you find that your right hand isn't just quite dominant while you're playing. Another thing is horizontal sensitivity and vertical sensitivity. Now these two options are very important simply because horizontal sensitivity just controls the speed at which you're going from side to side. So if that's the case, when you're having random recoil, the mechanic that's attributed to most of the guns in the game, you're going to have this problem where you may not be able to account for that random recoil because your sensitivity is too high. So some people like to play maximum sensitivity, and generally it's just for show. It doesn't really mean that you're skilled or you're a marksman or anything like that. In fact, it makes you a lot less consistent with your aim for the most part, for most players. So try slowly increasing it, but try also separating the vertical sensitivity, because a lot of guns have more vertical recoil than they do have horizontal recoil. So you'll be able to bring the gun upward and can kind of control the recoil, or downward depending on the gun. Good guns are like the Volkssturm Gewehr, where you could use, rapid fire, or you can use any extension of pretty much anything. That gun melts. So, once you control the sensitivity with that, you don't even need grip. Sticks will let you kind of control it vertically very well. So it's really helpful to play around with these and try to maybe change the numbers around, 5 and 6, instead of most people playing on 5-5 or 5, and 5 and 6 and 6, and it doesn't have to be that way. You can experiment, and it doesn't have to be this way either. You could go 6 and 5. I mean, that's just what works for me. Granted, controller vibration, the next setting here, you really, really, really want to turn this off. There are two good reasons. Well, when you are shooting, your controller motor slightly does move your hand. It does shake. So it will kind of throw your aim off. It's very negligible. You don't really notice it. I mean, until the ranges become a lot longer and more distant. That's when you really do notice them. So I would really try this white disabled. It really does make a world of difference. It may feel weird for the first couple games that you're actually doing this, so practice. Maybe go into a private match and set up some veteran bots, practice on aiming with them, or recruit if you're not too good with your aim yet. You know? Alright, so we covered that. The rest of these settings are pretty much good the way they are. And just, for the love of God, make sure you have aim assist slowdown, because I watched a couple challenge videos and it does really make a difference. It is enabled by default, but some people might have disabled it. I highly recommend that you do keep this enabled if it is enabled. So that's it. Another thing that's important that a lot of people actually don't talk about is the brightness settings. If you have an HDR TV, is the white or black point settings. Because sometimes people can blend in very well with their environment in this game. Now, if you don't have a perk like Lookout, or they're running something like Mountain, you can't really counter that. So you're going to have to sometimes rely on your eyesight, especially in game modes like Hardcore, where a UAV is the only way a radar is going up in the game. So, try that. Try messing with the brightness, see if it's not too high. Maybe make it high so you can see foliage better, you can see people hiding, you know what I mean? A lot of game modes have a lot of places where you can hide and just blend in with the environment. And because of that, you're at a disadvantage. If they're sitting there waiting, camping, and you can't see them, well, that's a double negative right there. You're done. So, definitely play around with your settings here on the graphics. It's very important too. Audio. This is another important one. You want to turn your game volume all the way up, because this includes footstep noises, which, if somebody isn't using Mountain, does make a really big difference. You can hear them. Music you want to disable, because that just covers up the ambience. It covers up gunfire, silencers. It covers up footsteps. It covers up the announcer and announcing kill streaks. The reason why you do keep the multiplayer announcer on is because he does announce when a kill streak does become active. So if an enemy is, going to throw out an artillery barrage, you have a pretty good idea of where that's going to be dropped. You have about a split second to move out of the way if you're quick enough. So that really does help. It's lasted to the point where maybe I've gotten a V2 because I was quick enough. So the announcer really has helped. Battle chatter is important too. And the reason why is because the callouts during the game your team will make are very accurate. They'll announce where the enemy literally is, like they're in the restaurant. So you'll be able to locate them really quick, even if you're not seeing them. Your teammate might be able to see them visually, and it'll announce that. That's why you definitely want to keep this enabled. Hit feedback volume is really dependent on the player. I like to hear that each shot is hitting, so I can count in my head, kind of like, okay, I got this many shots up on this guy, he's pretty much dead, or whatever, he's getting close to death. But some people can do better with it off. Maybe it's just extra ambience for some people. I don't know. I play with it all the way maxed. Subtitles, obviously, aren't really important unless you're watching for callouts. So, that's not necessary if you have battle chatter enabled. So, there you go. Those are all the settings that I play on currently. And first off and foremost, another thing is to go and do exactly everything I just did on this video. Take it into our private match and just put 17 bots on free-for-all and just strafe around and shoot at the targets until you're literally sick of it. Put unlimited on, go into the room, play for an hour, but do the bot thing. Do it until you're fucking tired of it. And I do mean fucking tired of it, guys. That's how your aim really just stays consistent, because you're used to things moving. A lot of multiplayer targets stand still, believe it or not. So I do find some of the bots are a lot more challenging than some multiplayer enemies. But, that's my personal preference. I highly recommend that you give this a shot, and thank you for watching. Good night.